Oh, I'm gonna have to get rid of the den, otherwise it's gonna happen the whole time. All right, I'm gonna give it about 2 minutes max as other people are coming in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know, Siri. That seems a little presumptuous. Seems a wee bit presumptuous. Hi. Welcome to Den Dojo with my cat Siri and the other one over there who probably won't come into the view, but we never know. They do sometimes get squirrely together. His name is Dandy. And it's me, Badger. So let's see what time it is. 8:01. We will go ahead and get started. Gonna just go with chill tonight, and as more like restorative, and as people either become regular or a desire is expressed by the group to do something otherwise, then we can co-create what ends up happening. But let's go ahead and get started. You can take a seat. I'm just going to be crisscross applesauce, and then I'm going to grab a block or anything. I could, if I didn't have a block, just turn over here to this couch and use the couch. But I'm going to go ahead and set this block up, and then I'm going to take my arms or fists, whatever is needed, and put them on top here, and then rest my head down. And now it's just a matter of breathing. Most people spend far more time inhaled than exhaled. So this is an opportunity to exhale a little bit deeper. Pull the front part of your core in and backward toward your spine on purpose. And use that greater support in the front of your body to round deeper into the shape. As that happens, if you want to drop down a level with your prop, I started out up here with a little bit of extra support. I'm going to go ahead and round now, and I'll turn as well so that you can see this a little bit better from the side, right? It starts out initially as sort of a hinge, and you just catch yourself wherever you can. But as you pull the front of your body in toward your spine more, your thoracic spine, your middle back and upper back will begin to round more, and you can start to drop down. The more you use your inhales to breathe into your low back, find the bottom part of your lungs and expand them downward toward your pelvis. And then on your exhales, you'll have just a teeny bit more space to soften. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna drop down another level on my block. I'm gonna tuck my chin more. I'm gonna use the front of my throat to do that, right? The muscles in your neck are not just passive, you have to use them. And we'll be here for about 5 more breaths. This is a nice introspective time. So while you're here, you can put your hands anywhere that works for you. You're slowing your breath down. You're focusing on your exhales. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, you're welcome to do that now. Okay, curl up slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. That last little bit, lift your sternum up, lift the top of your head back up, and bring your head in line with the rest of your spine. So now we're gonna head into Janu. So Janu Shirsasana, take one leg out to the side and the flat of the opposite foot into your inner thigh. You do not want right in front, you're a little wide. Okay? Frame this leg with both of your hands, and we'll treat it more or less similar to the other forward fold. So what I mean by that is hinge whatever you have hinge wise. Some of you might even be way back here in an almost 90-degree angle. If that's the case, you might want to scoot and put your back against something so that you don't start being tempted to open up even more into an obtuse angle. Okay, so try to get it 90 degrees at least, because then at least from there you can drop your chin down and you start to get a big stretch in your upper back. But hopefully you can get at least a little bit more acute in the angle than 90 degrees, just a little bit more closed in that hip flexion. And then you can introduce that more rounded spine. Curl down, and when you can't get any more, go ahead and grab a block or anything and stick it underneath your head and support your head. And if you don't have any props nearby, then what you'll do is you'll just put your hands on your leg or on your foot if you can reach your foot. Keep your spine straight and focus on engaging these muscles up in the crease of your hip to help that hip hinge develop further while you're here. Either way, you're breathing, you're focusing on what's turning on, almost more than what is turning off. The stretch will happen intrinsically when you have the right either alignment and support or alignment and activation, depending on whether you've chosen a more passive variation or a more active variation. Come on up. Put your right hand on your right leg. Take your left hand to your left hip crease. Roll your left shoulder onto your back. And then slide your spine backward, right? More than likely you've rounded a little bit forward. So bring your upper back and throat in line with the rest of your spine. Okay, a little bit of a push down here, a little bit of an open with the back of your left shoulder. And then either turn your chin to your left shoulder or keep your gaze straight forward and drop your right ear down to your right shoulder. You can slide further down as long as when you do, your left hip stays down and you're not twisting in the shape. It's sort of a nice lateral hinge that's happening here. And once you get the basics of it, you can open up more with that left arm. You can take the left arm up and over, but again, try not to let it force you into a twist. Use your next breath in to help stack your spine back upright. You're going to put your left hand behind your left hip. Take your right arm, point your right toes, point your right fingers, and then hike your hips up so that you're standing up on your left knee, and then reach long through your right arm. You're making a long line from your right leg all the way through your right fingertips. Open up through the front of your right hip as best as possible. You're going to look for your right fingertips. One last deep breath in, and then exhale, sit it back down, and then we'll switch and do the other side. So kick your left leg out, bring your right foot in. Frame your left leg this time. You might need to shift flesh around to get comfortably seated. And from here, you are assessing your hinge. Create as deep of a hinge as possible without straining. You need a little bit of laxity in that system so that you can round your spine as well. And you're going to let the weight of your body bring you down. You can either support that weight with a prop and breathe into it, possibly by creating a prop with your own body. And if there are no props available, you can always just take it and make it active by grabbing your leg or grabbing your foot and harnessing the strength in that left hip crease to get yourself more forward. So here you might feel a stretch in the back of your leg, in your low back on the right side, or anywhere in your back body. And now let's come on up and turn it into a side stretch. So leave your left hand on your left leg, or put it there if it was elsewhere. Then you're going to take your right hand to your right hip. Notice how my spine is a little forward from when I was folding forward, so I still need to bring my upper body back in line with the rest of my spine. And then turn my chin to the right and lean over, or leave my gaze neutral forward and drop my ear down. Either one is fine. This knee over here on the right is going to want to lift up, or the butt cheek's going to want to lift up. Keep them both sort of tracking downward so that as weight is shifting left, you have the weight of your right leg actively down, anchoring you for an equal and opposite stretch. Come on up slowly with your inhale. Take your right hand, put it behind you on the ground. Try not to lock out your elbow. Try to roll the shoulder open, and then point the toes along with the left arm up to the right knee, hips forward, and get as long as you can through the front of your left hip and through your whole left side. And then bring it back around. Okay, I've got this right leg bent still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean to the right. I put my hands over to the right, and then I'm going to bend my left knee back behind me. Now, I'll turn a little bit so that you can see what's going on in the left leg. It's just chill, right? So it does not matter if you have your toes pointed, or in this instance, if you have your ankle dorsiflexed. There are some times you definitely don't want your ankle dorsiflexed with your leg back behind you, but right now we're good. So let's go both hands to the outside of your right leg, and you're going to roll your spine to the right, and you're going to activate this left leg so that you're rolling the thigh a little bit inward with you while you're taking your torso to the right for a twist. Lift your spine up and then turn your chin to your right shoulder. Look over your right shoulder, not just by turning your chin and cranking into your neck, but also use your eyeballs to look to the right. Okay, counter twist. Actually, just counter neck twist. Leave your hands where they are and take your chin to your left shoulder, and then just kind of like look down to the left with your eyeballs to get a stretch through your right side neck. Okay, up with both arms. Inhale, exhale your left hand down to the left, up and over with your right arm. Again, your gaze can be neutral, your gaze can be down at your left hand, or your gaze can be sort of through your right armpit, up to you. And then cartwheel both hands to frame your right leg. So one on the right hand outside, left hand left side of your right leg. Then you're going to hinge over that right leg. And you get to come down as much or as little as you want to. Now, one thing that is happening that is sort of a non-negotiable is you want to keep your right hip on the ground all the way, butt cheek glued down. This leg back here doesn't super duper matter. Where you are over this right leg, left or right or straight over, it doesn't super matter as long as your knee isn't giving you warning signals on this side. Other than that, you're pretty much good to stay wherever you land, take your upper body down further, and if you are comfortable in pigeon, you're welcome to extend that back leg behind you and work to internally rotate and bring to neutral, really, and bring that left hip down to the ground as well. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. Wherever you land, try not to move out of there, just stay. You made a choice. Again, hopefully you made an informed choice and there were not warning signals in the process of getting into the shape that you chose, and then you just land. So if you are experiencing warning signals, of course, do adjust back. But if not, and you're just getting the sensation of maybe discomfort in the process of stretching, then good. That means changes are happening. And a lot of times, comfort stretching doesn't really push the narrative forward at all. Not that we're necessarily trying to do a whole lot here in 30 minutes, but still, it's still important to be able to touch in to that discomfort, identify that it is just discomfort, and then within a certain time frame, back away from it. And that time frame is now. So come on up. And we'll flip-flop now so that your right leg is back and your left leg is bent in front of you. First, we will take both of your hands on over to the outside of your left leg. In so doing, you want to remember to bring this right leg with you. So right now, if we look at the rotation, here's the center of my hip, kind of neutral, but also depending on where I put my torso, I'm a little bit rolled open in this thigh. And I want to engage it internally a little bit. So I want to roll the muscles from the outside to the inside just a little bit to get a more contiguous line from the knee through the hip and all the way across to the opposite shoulder while I'm here in this twist, and then turn and look over your left shoulder, take your eyeballs with you. Release your head to center and then turn your chin to the right. Take your eyeballs with you, and you're looking for just a little bit of, maybe a little bit extra lift out of that left arm to help stretch the left side of your neck. Good. Bring both arms up on your inhale. Your right hand goes down to the right. Your left arm goes up and over. Stay grounded through your left hip. And then exhale, frame your left leg with both hands. Get yourself aligned with that left thigh in a way that's going to be comfortable for your left knee, and then hinge yourself forward over your left leg. If you want to slide your right leg long for pigeon, you can.
If you want to modify more, you can.
Good, come on up. And just take a regular seat, but kind of face the length of your mat. If you don't have a mat, that's fine. You are going to want something in your hands for the next thing. Whether that is a strap, a shirt, a jacket, a blanket, the yoga mat itself, or if you have particularly good traction on the floor, you could probably get away with not actually having a long strappy thing. I will use my strap as an object, so I'm going to grab it with my thumbs pointing to the outside, both of my thumbs to the outside, and then I'm going to send my arms long behind me. I'm ripping it apart minimally right now, and if you'll notice, my shoulder is still somewhat dipped forward here in the front. That's what's going to change, but first I want to get long. I want to send my shoulders sort of away from my ears and get my arms nice and long first. Then I'm going to roll my shoulders open and apart. Both of them did that exact same move. I'm going to put my hands on the ground and push into the ground to lift my chest up out of that. And maybe that's enough, all right? You can choke up and have your hands closer together and repeat to get it a little bit more intense. And if you want more intensity than that, you can slide your butt away from your hands. We want to sit here for, let's say, 10 good breaths. Your head can be back, your head can be down, or your head can be neutral. Try not to feel this in your elbows. Try not to do this in your wrists. If you were to look, you'll see that for the most part, my wrists are very straight. I'm not bending them out to the sides in the process of ripping my mat apart. If you do bend your wrists, then that will be where all of the energy is instead of up at the shoulder. If you hyperextend your elbows, that is where your energy will go instead of into your shoulders. Okay, find a little release out of that. Shake your arms out. Let's go opposite of that real quick. Arms out wide. Hug yourself. One arm over the other. Work your fingers behind your shoulder blades as best as possible. And then pull your elbows down and spread the back of your shoulders apart. Drop your head down to your chest. If that is good, but you want a little more, you can take your arms, release your arms, keep your biceps crossed, but release your forearms, and then double wrap your forearms so that the forearms and the wrists are wrapped for eagle. You can then pull down, you get a certain stretch. You can lift up, you get a slightly different stretch. You can round your spine with it, or you can arch your spine with it. So you can sit there, you can tip your fingertips to the one side or the other. There's a lot you can get out of this eagle arm stretch. We'll be here on this one same side, whether you're hugging or eagling, for the next 3 breaths. Make them good ones. Open your arms wide, put the other arm on top, hug. Round or open with your hug, or eagle wrap. Unwind and spin back around. We're going to do the chest opener again. One more time. Find whatever it is that you're going to rip apart and rip it apart. Come on up. We're going to lay down. So if you have a block or a prop similar to a block handy, you have a couple of options, 3 options. You can put the block underneath your hips. You get a little bit of compression. You can also slide your legs out and get a little openness through the front of the hip. You can do a similar thing at your shoulders. Way up high in the shoulders, lay on your block so that your chest bows upward a little bit. And you can also use your block as a pillow underneath the base of your skull. It's put a little pressure there. So it's really up to you. If you don't have a prop at all, don't worry about it. You can just lay down in Shavasana and try not to move. Notice how your bones are worked on by gravity and they're pulled down into your mat, into the carpet, into the floor. Notice how the muscles that lay over your bones are also being pulled down by gravity, and so you don't really have to do anything to keep yourself in the shape that you've chosen. Regardless of the shape, there's enough of you laying down that gravity can really just hold you, and you can let a lot of the tension of existing go. Open and close your jaw a couple of times. Release your jaw. Let go of your breathing. Let your breathing be soft and unaffected. You are welcome to stay for as long as you'd like, laying down. If you're coming with me to the Q&A, you're welcome to come on up slowly and join me in the next couple of minutes in VC in the den. Thank you very much for joining me for Limber Legion Den Dojo tonight. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the den.